Welcome back to JVM Internals Crashcasts. I'm your host, Sheila, and today we're continuing our journey through the fundamentals of the Java virtual machine. We're in the first chapter, Introduction to the JVM, and we've just covered what the JVM is. Now, we're moving on to a topic that often confuses newcomers: JVM versus JRE versus JDK. Joining me as always is our JVM expert, Victor. Hey Victor, ready to demystify these acronyms?
Hello, Sheila. Absolutely, I'm excited to dive into this topic. It's a crucial distinction for anyone working with Java, whether you're a developer or just running Java applications.
Great. Before we start, I'd like to pose a quiz question to our listeners. Here it is. Which of these three components, JVM, JRE, or JDK, is necessary for both developing and running Java applications? Think about it, and we'll reveal the answer at the end of the episode.
That's an excellent question, Sheila. It really gets to the heart of understanding the roles of these different components. I'm sure our listeners will have some interesting thoughts on this. Let's break it down throughout our discussion and see if we can guide them to the correct answer.
Sounds good, Victor. Let's start with the basics. Can you give us a quick rundown of what each of these terms means?
Certainly. Let's start with the JVM, which we covered in our last episode. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. It's the foundation of the Java platform and is responsible for executing Java bytecode. Next, we have the JRE, which stands for Java Runtime Environment. The JRE includes the JVM, along with the core libraries and other components needed to run Java applications. Finally, there's the JDK, or Java Development Kit. The JDK is a superset of the JRE, and it includes everything in the JRE plus development tools like the Java compiler.
That's helpful, Victor. So, if I understand correctly, it's kind of like a nesting doll situation. The JDK contains the JRE, which contains the JVM.
That's a great analogy, Sheila. You've got it exactly right. The JDK is the outermost doll containing everything. The JRE is the middle one, and the JVM is at the core.
I think I have an analogy that might help our listeners understand this better. Could I run it by you?
Of course. I love a good analogy. Go ahead.
All right, let's think of this in terms of cars. The JVM is like the car itself. It's the machine that does the actual work of running your Java code. The JRE is like a car with a full tank of gas. It's ready to run and has everything it needs. The JDK, then, would be like a car factory. It has the car, the fuel, and all the tools and parts needed to build and modify cars. How does that sound?
That's an excellent analogy, Sheila. It really captures the essence of each component. The JVM, the car, is what actually executes the code. The JRE, car with fuel, is what you need to run Java applications. And the JDK, car factory, is what developers use to create and compile Java applications. Well done.
Thanks, Victor. Now, I'm curious about the practical implications. When would someone need each of these components?
Great question. If you're just running Java applications, you only need the JRE. It has everything necessary to execute Java programs. Developers, on the other hand, need the JDK because it includes tools for compiling and debugging Java code. The JVM itself is always part of both the JRE and JDK, so you never need to download it separately.
I see. So if I'm a regular user who just wants to run Java applications, I only need the JRE. But if I'm developing Java applications, I need the full JDK. Is that right?
Exactly. You've got it spot on, Sheila. And it's worth noting that modern Java distributions often blur these lines a bit. For example, many developers now just download the JDK for everything, as it includes the JRE.
Interesting. That leads me to wonder about how these components have evolved over time. Has it always been this way?
That's a great point to bring up, Sheila. The relationship between these components has indeed evolved over time. In the early days of Java, the distinction between JRE and JDK was more pronounced. Sun Microsystems and later Oracle distributed them separately. However, a significant change came with the introduction of Java 9 in 2017. This version introduced the Java Platform Module System. which allowed for more flexible and efficient runtime images. As a result, the lines between JRE and JDK became somewhat blurred. Another major evolution was the shift towards open source. In 2006, Sun began releasing Java as open-source software, and this trend continued when Oracle acquired Sun in 2010. Today, the primary reference implementation of the JDK is open source under the OpenJDK project.
Wow, that's quite a journey. It sounds like Java has become more open and flexible over time. Are there any common misconceptions or pitfalls related to JVM, JRE, and JDK that our listeners should be aware of?
Absolutely, Sheila. One common misconception is that you always need to download and install a JRE separately. In many cases, applications come bundled with their own JRE, so you don't need to worry about it. Another pitfall is not keeping your Java installation up to date. Whether you're using the JRE or JDK, it's crucial to install updates regularly for security and performance reasons. Lastly, some developers make the mistake of using an older JDK to develop applications and a newer JRE to run them. This can lead to unexpected behavior or errors. It's generally best to use the same version for development and runtime.
Those are great points, Victor. Before we wrap up, do you have any fun facts or interesting anecdotes about JVM, JRE, or JDK?
Sure, here's an interesting tidbit. The Java mascot, Duke, was actually created by Joe Palrang, who later went on to work at Pixar and contributed to films like Toy Story 2 and Finding Nemo. Duke was created to represent the Java technology's ability to bring interactivity and movement to the then static web.
That's fascinating. I had no idea Java had such a connection to the world of animation. Now, as we're nearing the end of our episode, let's reveal the answer to our quiz question. Victor, would you like to do the honors?
Certainly. The question was, which of these three components, JVM, JRE, or JDK, is necessary for both developing and running Java applications? And the answer is the JDK. While you only need the JRE to run Java applications, the JDK is necessary for development. And since the JDK includes the JRE, it can do both jobs.
Thank you, Victor. To summarize today's episode, 1. The JVM, Java Virtual Machine, executes Java bytecode. 2. The JRE, Java Runtime Environment, includes the JVM and libraries needed to run Java applications. 3. The JDK, Java Development Kit, includes the JRE plus tools for developing Java applications. 4. For just running Java apps, you need the JRE. For developing, you need the JDK. 5. These components have evolved over time, becoming more integrated and open source. In our next episode, we'll be diving into the basic architecture overview of the JVM. Until then, keep exploring the fascinating world of Java. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a rating if you're enjoying the series. Thanks for listening.